Did you spy on Grandpa too?
Oh, no, I didn't even know your grandpa at that time.
You mean, Grandpa, that Grandma didn't come with you on the train?
No. When we first got here, there were a lot of single men and women. They was homesteading. Some of these people even came by Model T cars. Weren't no highways. They followed them red trails on them markers on the telephone pole, and they went from town to town.
You see, I had a claim just south of where your grandpa was. And of course, it was hard for a woman to manage alone on such a desolate land.
I'm looking round and see how I'm holding down my claim, and my victuals are not always served the best, and the mice play shyly round me as I nestle down to rest in my little old sod shanty on the clay.
Yeah, Grandma, she was for excuses to get me over to her house, and she baked me a pie.
I was not. Besides, you loved my cooking. Can she bake a cherry pie, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can she bake a cherry pie, charming Billy? She can bake a cherry pie in the twinkle of an eye. She's a young thing, but cannot leave her mother. I remember that.
Can't say much for her singing, though. Yeah, you know, it was very lonely living out there on the plains. No newspapers, no radio, no telephone, no TV.
You know, though, if the lights were on in a window out at night on the prairie, why, you could count almost 60 at a time, and then you couldn't see them all. You know, the thing I miss about the old way of washing clothes was see how white a wash the neighbor put out. Why, that's how you can tell how good a housekeeper you were. Yeah, everybody washed on Mondays. Now it's hard to tell when or if people wash clothes. Yeah, our homestead house was pretty nice, but oh, I'll tell you, I remember some of our neighbors with big families, a dozen children, lived in a space, 12 feet by 14 feet, but within that space they got the beds, the cook stove, cupboard, table and chairs, and a washstand. Don't know how they did it.
Yeah, nowadays a woman complains that the house hasn't got a dozen closets. Yeah, boy, and she complains if you gotta work and live out of a suitcase for a week. Yeah, you know, all we had was a nail to hang my clothes on.
I can see that Grandma had a lot to do, but what did you do, Grandpa?
No, that's a good question, Jack. I've been asking your grandpa that for about 60 years now. You got an answer?
No, still don't. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what. Your grandma was the hardest worker. Well, I'll tell you what, we worked the soil. We had to break the fields, plant the crops. First load of wheat was shipped out of Parshall in 1915.
Did you raise everything on the farm and never go to town?
Oh, there were many things we had to go to town for, and Parshall was really growing back then. They moved Main Street to where it is now, and boy, what a celebration we had on that day. Native Americans joined the fun, and we barbecued beef. Some of the people that helped Parshall grow that I remember were Cap Tangadol. He had the Elgin House Hotel. John Iverson's store. Ed Chelstrip had the bank, yeah. And Fred Hankins was lumber dealer. Yeah, that's right.
Well, you know, the Hankins family is still in town. Of course, they and their daughter Helen Jean had a funeral home, and now Mrs. Hankins resides at Rockview Nursing Home.
Yeah, the first depot agent was Mr. Kennedy. And on Sandon, where the Redwood Mixers, now he had a general merchandise store. The Schuberts, Bert, Ted, Court, they had Beam's Utopia Hotel.
Say, you know, I remember the Viams. You know, they wouldn't let a couple register unless they showed their marriage license. Remember that?
Did they check us? Yeah, he had a drugstore then. He also had a soda fountain. Boy, and he was the town's mortician for a few years. Pete Krogan's Theater, Crippen, Sells, Dr. Frogner, Ed Nelson, Lawrence, C.R. Son, Tom Cooper. Altogether, we had 3 banks, 3 general stores, 3 restaurants, 5 or 6 elevators, and some other businesses. Later, Bone Stingles and Watsons and Norby's and Rabadoos, Pat Jones, Hans Scholl, Carl Munson, Curly Tompers, and George Valimas were family names as they became a part of Parshall.
Says many of the families had children of school age, so schools had to be organized. The first school district was called Reservation School. A district was organized in 1914. It was east of Parshall and was consisted of Model, Banner, and Montreal and part of Plaza Townships, as they are now named. Schools were open in claim shacks vacated by their owners and were conveniently located for the children to attend. A few years later, the individual school, districts were made into each township. In the late teens, each district was able to build new schools. Model Township built 2 schools on the east side of the district, and the children on the west side of the township went to the town schools. Banner Township built 4 new schools on each corner of the township. Montreal County, our township, built a consolidated school in the center of the township. Buses were used to haul those children. In the winter, it was with horses and on the bus. Teachers were the janitors who shoveled the lignite coal and carried out the ashes, as well as teaching the children. In the 1940s, rural electrification put a new lighting system into our rural schools, which was so good on foggy January days. Also, a wonderful, when we had our programs and other community gatherings at night. Then the old coal furnace went out the door, and an automatic oil or propane furnaces were installed. What a luxury. In 1958, the idea of redistricting came into use. All of the children were brought to the town schools by motor buses, and an entirely new system of education began. This is our school system today. Now I would like to name two pupils of Florence Lee. I am her sister, not Florence, of the old days. And they are Leonard Erickson, who was a 6th grader on Banner School number 3, September 1921, and Oscar Scogan of Partial School District in the year of 1922.
What did the children do to keep from being bored like we are today?
Oh, they didn't even know what the word bored meant. They were kept busy snaring gophers, pulling weeds, herding cattle and sheep, caring for baby brothers and sisters. They washed dishes, learned to sew and cook. Boys helped around the barn, rode around horses, and picked rock with the stone boats. My favorite.
Soon, though, we began to worry how they were going to get an education. What with no schools or no books or no teachers.
Gee, that must have been great.
Yeah, some teachers didn't stay too long, though. They got so lonesome. One teacher stayed just overnight. She didn't even get a chance to meet me.
Well, it was better when we got an older woman, it seems, or a man sometimes. Yes, they lived right in the schoolhouse, you know.
Yeah, I heard about one teacher in the Badlands area. Staying in the schoolhouse, opened the door, and there sunning itself on the step was a rattlesnake. I'd like to see that. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a good thing it was a summer term, because you were done then.
Well, those were the days of gopher tails and lunch pails. You know, the kids would take their lunch to school in the pail, and then they'd bring home the gopher tails that they'd caught at recess or at lunchtime. Well, let's see now. Lunch was usually what? A sandwich with choke cherry jelly, something like that. Maybe a piece of side pork, a few prunes, and, you know, never an orange, of course. They were for Christmas stockings. Yes, Mother'd be surprised. She'd open the lunch box at the end of the day. There'd be a bouquet of crocuses. School was the center of social activity, what with picnics and school plays and programs.
Yeah, teachers were closely watched in those days. Almost as bad as being a preacher.
Constant duel. The school kids were a bit unruly, but she was strict with no tomfoolery.